Greg Mitchell's things are very clear consciousness of guilt statements. When he went into his friend's house in North Carolina, the day the FBI talked to him about my case and said, I need money to leave the country because someday they're going to get me for this. Well, it's clear what the guy's talking about to me. I don't there's any, Judge Dupri threw that all away as meaningless and irrelevant. No real focus on the MacDonald case or anything. And when Cathy Perry Williams said that she was involved in the killings of a doctor and his doctor's wife and their 2 kids on an army base in North Carolina, that wasn't good enough for Judge Dupri. She had to be sane and nice and a school teacher and say it was 26-year-old blonde Colette, or it wasn't any good.
How, if she was involved, what about Helena Stokely then?
Oh, I think Helena Stokely was there and is really clearly involved, and these are all her friends.
I see.
But Cathy Perry Williams is the person that she gave. Helena Stokely gave her bloody clothing and boots to Cathy Perry. Cathy Perry gave them to the lawyer in Fayetteville who gave them to the CID. CID then gave them back. Okay. Cathy Perry says she was there that night. Helena said several things. Helena said on different occasions she's given us different numbers, of people who were there that night. Ray Shedlick clearly believes, as did Ted Gunderson, there were at least 6 and probably more. And no, we don't know how many exactly were there, quite honestly. We even think that it might be more confusing than they've even let on, because we suspect some of the people stayed in the cars, the vehicles the whole time. Okay? And that's why we keep looking for more people. We'll eventually get Dwight Smith. He's the one male that I know was there, and that Helena knew was there, and that everyone else
Is he the black?
The black guy.
Yeah.
Right. We'll eventually somehow, some way, find this guy and find out if there's any consciousness of guilt there. Although we already know there is from the park in Fayetteville conversation that were overheard, where he and Helena and another white guy, but Dwight Smith, were discussing the killings. So we know that he's already had little bits of consciousness, and he's the one who told Helena not to put their business on the streets. Okay? But these things happen. It eventually comes out. Cathy Perry Williams didn't come to us. She went to the FBI. They held that from us until after, this is really weird. This is true. This is factual. They held it till after the TV showing of Fatal Vision, and then Murtaugh says in front of Dupri and in front of the Fourth Circuit that she only came forward after the TV movie. Do you follow that? She actually, the date on the confession that the FBI finally had to give us is prior to the movie. But they held it until after the movie, then gave it to us. Now Murtaugh has said in court openly that she confessed for a lust for publicity. I mean, that's how the whole case goes, and that's just another one of these things we always talk about. But I'm not sure of Cathy Perry's role, but she said 2 things that are so alarming to us that we believe she was there. One is that she knew about a rope burn on Colette's arm that has never been discussed anywhere by anyone. Never. Matter of fact, we didn't find it until after she confessed. Then we went back to the autopsies, and Noguchi says and showed us there's a line.
Yeah.
Where there's a rope-like burn on her arm.
It's very concerning.
That's right. She also said something that's even spookier, because I hate to even talk like this when I get sick, but she said that one of the kids was trying to hide in the closet. And in the reports, we find that there's a clump of hair in the closet torn out by the roots. Murtaugh says that's fine. What does he think I did? Tore hair out of my daughter, put it in the closet, wait 13 years, force Cathy Perry to admit her guilt, and then refer people back to something that I planted in the closet. Jeez. And Dupri threw it all out. Said it was the rantings of a lunatic. Sure, she's a lunatic. She kills people.
Where is this woman?
She's in Florida. She won't talk to us. She has a new husband. He goes to a psychiatrist. We talked to a psychiatrist, and he said he can't disclose anymore, but he indicated he wanted to. And Dupri sits up there with that grin. I can't describe it. You ought to see this man. That grin on his face, and he says, well, I don't know about y'all, but stuff like this doesn't happen in North Carolina. They be out there in San Francisco, Mr. Siegel, where y'all is. He says, this stuff doesn't happen in North Carolina. He says, LSD? I never heard of it.
We talked that way, did we?
Absolutely. We'd sit there at trial over and over. Bernie Siegel, I don't remember the specific argument. It might have been psychiatric testimony, but we made many motions. We lost all 24. But the really brilliant ones were arguments on the admissibility of Colonel Rock's report and the admissibility of the psychiatric evidence and the inadmissibility of the fake pajama talk theory. Those were the three key arguments that Bernie made, and he was brilliant. And the courtroom was packed with pro and con people. There wasn't, you could hear a pin drop in that. I mean, there was no, when he was done, Dupri would look at me and say, Mr. Siegel, he says, I have to tell you, in all my years, I've never heard an argument that was so well stated. He says, I'm very impressed. Motion denied. I mean, it was unbelievable. And you'd just be shattered, and Bernie would be shattered. And we have to prop him up and bring him back to the fraternity house that night and say, look, we got tomorrow. You know. Ralph Spritzer, when he argued he's a professor from University of Pennsylvania. He used to be third man in the Solicitor General's office. That's who argues the case for the government. And he became Bernie's consultant to the Fourth Circuit. And he argued in front of the Fourth Circuit, and they said, well, Mr. Spritzer, Moynihan was talking to him, and the other two people, I forgot who he said it to, but one of them said, this is all interesting, and it may be, germane, but we're bothered by the prosecution argument that these people were involved in drugs, and hence their testimony is unreliable. And Spritzer said the truth. He said, look, MacDonald can't figure the sailors. I didn't have the luxury. And yet I am, I'm paying a price for not having quality assailants. That is the craziest catch-22 I had ever heard. If I had somehow had assailants who were college graduates and weren't taking drugs, all would be fine. I mean, that is really, that's what I thought Joe McGinnis was saying. That's what he said he was saying. But Joe, didn't want the downside of fighting the government. I mean, he didn't say that to me. He didn't say it on trial, but that's clearly what happened. January 1983 is the watershed. Helena Stokely dies. No more mystery witness telling all these things about Ivory and the CID and the FBI coming to her saying, let sleeping dogs lie. So she's dead. Now she's out of the picture. Greg Mitchell dies 2 weeks after the FBI visits him. And the Supreme Court turns me down, and Joe says, now what?